Hey everyone, it's Robert from On My Turntable. I hope you're having a great day today. It's Saturday morning. It's a coffee kind of morning. I want to continue my look at albums to discover through Discogs Shuffle. And it's been a lot of fun doing that. I never know what I'm going to talk about next. As you know, or maybe you're not familiar with Discogs, it's a great place to catalog your albums. They catalog by year of release, by pressing, whether it's Canadian pressing, UK pressing, US pressing. Also, you can fine tune it by putting the quality of the album on there, as far as BG or whatever. You just have to be careful if you're looking for a particular album released in a particular date. They don't list the reissues or re-releases as originals. They list them as the year of remaking, basically. So, for example, a lot of the Beatles I have show that they were re-released in 2012 because they're remakes, or 2000, late 2000s. So you just have to be careful that way. But other than that, it's a great way to catalog things. I've got everything listed in vinyl, and then CD, and then box set. But you can also total your whole discography. And the cool thing about it is it has a random feature on it that you can, it's like a shuffle, that you can hit the shuffle button and it comes up with a different album all the time. And that's how I'm choosing the albums to talk about and discover, which is, I think, a cool idea. So far, so good. The last album I did on the shuffle was this great blues album, Paul Butterfield Blues Band. This is a smoking album. You got Mike Bloomfield. You've got so many great players on here. Alvin Bishop. And when I was going through my discography the other day, I found I had another Paul Butterfield band. It's called Better Days. This is quite a different listen to the bluesier Mike Butterfield Blues Band. Or Paul Butterfield Blues Band, sorry. Because it doesn't have Mike Bloomfield in it. There's Mike's and Paul's. It doesn't have Mike Bloomfield in it, so I don't think it's as bluesy. It's more of a jazzy or softer, but it's still good at the same time. So I'm glad that I have this, and I forgot that I had it in my collection. Yeah, it's got Paul Butterfield, Ronnie Barron, Amos Garrett, or Garrett, Jeff Muldar, Christopher Parker, and Billy Rich. And it's on the Bearsville label, a cool looking label. So I'm glad to have this in my collection. Hopefully it'll come up on a shuffle one day and I can talk about it. Because again, I never know what's going to come up. But what I did shuffle after the Paul Butterfield Blues Band album is this one came up. Coney Hatch and the album Friction. And you're saying, who the heck is Coney Hatch, for all my US friends? Well, Coney Hatch is a great Canadian hard rock band. As usual, underrated. They should have been bigger than they were. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. So Coney Hatch formed in 1981. They released 3 albums in the 80s and one later in life in 2013. The 3 albums in the 80s were self-titled Coney Hatch in 1982, Out of Hand in 1983, and the one I'm going to talk about today, Friction, in 1985. And then in 2013, it came out with the album number 4. The band included vocalist and guitarist Carl Dixon, vocalist and bassist Andy Curran, guitarist Steve Selsky, and drummer Dave Ketchum, nicknamed Thumper. Excuse me. Their first album was produced by none other than Kim Mitchell, great artist on his own, Max Webster fame, classic band as well, great progressive rock band out of Toronto, and he's a big producer. Also, he's a radio personality now. I've seen him a bunch of times. I never had a chance to see Coney Hatch, but I've seen Kim Mitchell a bunch of times. Amazing artist, really, really good. Yeah, he produced the 1982 self-titled Coney Hatch album. Drummer Dave Ketchum left in 1983 and was replaced by Barry Connors, who played with the great band Toronto, another rock and cool band out of Toronto, kind of a pop rock band. These guys were a great arena rock band, Coney Hatch. They opened for Iron Maiden in 1983. Iron Maiden loved them, and they thought they were a really good band. 1985, they performed at the Hollywood Palladium with Rough Cut and Accept, and other huge artists all throughout. Big singles for the band: Devil's Deck, huge hit for them. Hey Operator, another one. Monkey Bars, another cool track. That's a classic staple, classic rock radio staple. Fantasy, off of the Friction album, and Girl from Last Night's Dream, kind of a rock and ballad. So this album here, Friction, is their third album released by the band, and they wouldn't release another one until 2013. Kind of their swan song, but they knew they were, I'll talk about it a little later, but they knew they were kind of at the end of the ropes, and I'll discuss a little why a little later, why that happened. So singles off this album were Out of Hand and Friction, as I said. They had put out a couple of videos on MTV and Much Music, Much Music being the cousin of MTV, Canadian cousin of MTV. So they had a mixture of drive-in sounds on this album when I listened to it. And it's an album that the more you listen, the better it gets, I find. It's a typical 80s rock album, but not in a bad way. I heard sounds of hard driving, thrashing Scorpions on there. I heard sounds of Van Hagar, not Van Halen, Van Hagar sounds with the rock and ballads and the driving tunes, and a hopped up Bon Jovi style of more poppier sounds. So again, great shredding, great vocals, and well-produced album as well. It sounds really, really good. It's not a mind-blowing album. It's not going to say, "Holy crap, that's the best album I've ever heard," but it's a cool, entertaining album to put on and listen to and enjoy, rock out, and there's not a bad track on the album. There really isn't. I didn't find anyway. I really enjoyed it. Again, the more you listen to it, the better it gets. But it, again, maybe it wasn't mind-blowing like their previous two albums, because kind of the end was near, perhaps. I'm not sure. They didn't put 100% effort into it. But again, these were a better live band than they were a studio band, I feel. And again, I never had a chance to see them, but any review I've read, anything I've read about the band, they were a huge live band. It's a great band from start to finish. It's a great album from start to finish. It really is, again, enjoyable. And they never really broke into the U.S. market. They should have, but like other Canadian bands, they just right on the edge. And they didn't have that extra. That's kind of like April Wine. April Wine is huge in Canada, but they just never broke into that U.S. market. They should have, because they're an amazing band. Coney Hatch is similar, that they had the stuff to do it, but they just didn't have that push to get into the U.S. market. Mainly because at the time, Anthem Records, who was on the label, was more focused on Bon Jovi's career at the time, and kind of pushed Coney Hatch to the side, which is unfortunate, because these are harder rocking than a Bon Jovi. Bon Jovi's great, don't get me wrong, but these guys had a harder edge but still had that Bon Jovi style to them. But they just put a harder edge to it, to the music. I'm glad to have it in my collection. Um, it's a cool thing to listen to. Of course, I try to promote Canadian bands all the time because I think everyone should know them and listen to them and enjoy them. So if you have Spotify, if you have even on YouTube, there's some great videos about Coney Hatch. Look these guys up. Um, I think you'll enjoy them. I think the guy I'm thinking that probably would enjoy it was Aaron Muth Alomar. I think Aaron would really enjoy this band because he likes that harder edged band, and I think he would. Anyone who likes a harder edged band or a rockin' band would like Coney Hatch. I think you would really enjoy this. So check it out. Friction, Coney Hatch, great Canadian band, a short-lived band, 3 albums. I haven't heard 4. I've heard the other 2, or songs from the other 2, and again, hard driving stuff, but typical 80s hard rock, big hair. Not from me, but big hair bands, and great band. So what's next? Let's have a look. Where's my phone? Let's have a look and see what we got next coming up in the shuffle. So I'll go to Discogs, and there's my collection. Sorry for the glare. I've got no albums listed yet, and so up here I go here to hit the random. You can't see that. It says random. So what's coming up next year? Oh, awesome. Till Tuesday. I love this band. Everything is different now. That's going to be my next one. I think it's a great. This is what I like about this shuffle. 1988 release, Till Tuesday. Great rockin' band, great lead singer, and looking forward to that. So, thanks very much. Have yourself a wonderful day. It's not a very bright and sunny day out there today. I saw a little bit of snowflakes, so I'll see what happens. Anyway, talk to you later, and hope you enjoyed. We'll talk to you again soon. Check out Coney Hatch. Bye now.